Hello, hello. Welcome to Sis Let's Talk Leadership. My name is Christy Burns, and this is where we unmask the myths and we own the journey. As you can see here today, we have a special guest. I told you we're going to keep the men flowing, guys, because, although this may seem as if it's strictly targeted for women, men have a say-so as well, especially when it comes to leadership. But right here, we have Mr. Darrell Perry, who is a dear friend of mine. He is actually the husband to another friend who we had on our last episode. And I'm going to let him introduce himself, but he's going to be bringing to us a little bit of insights from an operational standpoint, HD supply. But I'm going to let him talk about himself, and then we'll go into what the topic will be tonight. So go ahead, take it away.
Well, thank you, thank you. As Christy stated, my name is Darrell Perry. I am the lesser half of the Perry. My wife, Tacoma, bless you guys. So what you can do right now is just mute your ears and just take all the advice she gave you before, and you're good to go. But no, yes, Darrell Perry. I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida. I was formerly in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been working with the Home Depot. It'll actually be 16 years, August 30th.
Wow.
August 30th will mark 16 years with the company. I'm currently with HD Supply, which is a subsidiary of Home Depot. Came to Atlanta in 2010, worked for Home Depot for about 9 years, and almost 7 years ago moved here to Jacksonville, Florida to take on a new opportunity, a new challenge, working with the HD Supply company. I am a manager, so my title is Manager Inventory Operations.
Ooh.
Affectionately within the Home Depot world, we're known as Inventory Planning and Replenishment, IPR. Manage a team of anywhere from 5 to 7 analysts who their job is to make sure that we have the right product at the right place at the right time. Working here on the HD Supply side is more kind of business to business. So we're making sure school corporations, you think about apartment complexes, different companies or businesses, they buy in bulk. We're making sure that those customers are taken care of and they have the product that they need. I'm very fortunate. It's funny, my end customer is typically, obviously, those of you who are in the stores or those of you who work for these different companies and corporations and apartment, homes and places of such that are buying our product. But my personal customer are my employees. The team that I use, I shouldn't say usually, the team that I help build, help motivate, help train, help lead. I'm truly a proponent that a leader is only as strong as the people that they surround themselves with. You're as strong as your weakest link on your team. And so I'm continuously trying to find ways to motivate, to educate, to lead the team so that we can ultimately do what's best for the company and make sure that we give a good return on the investment for our investors. So it's a challenge because there's times where you have to manage the expectations of the corporation while also managing the expectations of your team. I truly do believe people who are happier will work better for you. And not so much that they're working for you, right? I want people to have ownership in their business. So I want them to come in every day and feel like this is my business. I own it. We would all love to reap the profits personally.
Hello.
Don't get me wrong, we'd all love to, but ultimately it's our job to be good stewards of the business. In my world, we're kind of like managing the inventory. Not even kind of, we definitely manage the inventory. And so it's my job to work with cross-functional teams to put our product into play, making sure we have the right inventory and making sure that we can service those customers. So when I say my end user are the people who buy the product, my immediate customer as a manager of my team, and then their customers are our cross-functional partners, merchandising, the sales team, our distribution centers. So I've always stated this. I'll probably fall on this sword from now until I'm no longer in supply chain.
Yeah.
Inventory planning and replenishment, in this case, we're where the tire meets the road. We're talking to people in the DCs. We're talking to people that are on the sales team. We're talking to the merchants, the buyers, you name it. We have some investment and some ownership of making sure that we're giving each of those teams what they need to be functional. And so it's definitely a challenge. It has let's call it sunny days and it's rainy days.
Yeah.
I do believe I build a team that works hard and plays hard. I'm one of those people who feel like my team likes me, even though I know there's some of them who are like, really not feeling this dude today. I know, like I've seen it. There's times people on my team don't know I've seen it on their screen or but I don't take it personal because I know that feeling. I've been in their shoes. I definitely
Ooh, that was good. I don't think we've had an introduction that detailed in a minute. So that was good. One thing I heard you say that we're going to actually pull from tonight with you managing your teams and just operations in general is you said that, your employees come first.
yes.
You're a people person. And even with me knowing you personally outside of your profession, you're definitely a people person. So that takes us right into our topic, which is good hearted, not weak minded. So, not mistaking our kindness for weakness. And I'm pretty sure we've all been there to some degree where someone has kind of gone across the boundary or, needed something and they've taken it too far and then they've expected it again and again and again and again. And then, it's made it kind of awkward between a leader and, the employee themselves or a team member. So I guess my first question is just when you hear the phrase, don't mistake my kindness for weakness, what does that mean to you?
What's the best way to say this? When I first hear it, and this one I'll attest to my wife, when I first hear it, by using my defense kind of goes up because my wife has always been on me about that. She's like, listen, you're a good man, you're kind, you're loving. Don't be letting these people walk all over you at work.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I've been in meetings, I've been in touch bases with people where they've told me, you need to be meaner. I'm like, can you imagine being in a touch base with someone who's telling you you need to be meaner?
Uh-huh.
And they've used choice words,
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I know what you mean.
yes, they're like, yeah, you need to be a little more, beeholish about it. But here's the thing that stands out for me when I hear the term or I hear that phrase, and I've heard that phrase many a times. The thing I stand by is I always do what's right, but I refuse to let just anyone walk over me. And there's been a few times where I've had to pull people to the side, and there's actually been a few times where I saved myself from getting fired.
Yeah.
Hard to believe because it's like, Darrell, yeah, right, okay.
Right.
But there have been times, I'll give you a few examples. One example, when I was at Home Depot, this is probably about 9 or 10 years ago, I was a newer manager. I think I got promoted in 2016. Don't quote me on the year, but I want to say I became a manager in 2016 at Home Depot. It was 2016, 17. I'm in a meeting and this gentleman, he just went off. IPR is not giving us what we need. And this is someone whom I respect or respected, I should say. We didn't have any issues. We'd been working with each other for probably at least 2 years. And he just went off on this tangent about IPR is not doing this and we're not getting what we need. And he was cussing and everything.
Okay.
And I said, and I was biting my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, you know what? I'm not going to say it in here. And I waited. As soon as that meeting was over, I went straight to his office. Shut his door. I followed him to his office. Shut his door and I said, listen here, sir. And I said his name, of course, but I said, sir, don't you ever disrespect me like that in a meeting.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and I said, and I'm not coming in here, I'm not being violent. I said, I was going to be very clear. At the end of the day, we're both men. And if you're going to approach me, you approach me as such. You've never approached me in this fashion before. I said, I don't know if you're putting on for your boss or you're trying to kind of impress people. I said, but two things stand out. One, that's not going to fly and I won't ever have that happen again. I said, and two, you belittled yourself in that meeting. I said, because people are looking at you and they're telling you, you need to calm down. You're flying off at the handles. I was like, if you're trying to give off this, you're super passionate, you're going about it the wrong way. I said, but I want to circle back. Don't ever approach me like that again in life.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, I'm not the one. I'm not.
Professionally or personally, in the street or the office.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get you.
Because it took everything in me. I was like, this guy, and I'm newer. I've probably been about 3 or 4 months into the role, but I knew him. I knew the business. I was fortunate to take over categories I knew. And I was like, this is unprofessional. And to be honest, I probably could have gone a step further and be like, I'm taking this to HR. But it was one of those where I'm like, I don't know. And this is that part of me that my wife probably get on me about too. I'm also still empathetic. I don't know what's going on in his personal life. I don't know if something happened with his wife, the family, something that's going on with his job. Maybe he's, on the hot seat. I don't know. And so out of respect, I'm like, I'm not going to put more pressure. And this is our first blow up. I was like, so let me approach him man to man and let him know what would be acceptable and what wouldn't be and kind of leave it there. And honestly, we had a great working relationship from there on out. And there's a part of me that felt like he thought because I am the guy who everyone gets along with.
Yeah, you are.
In his mind, he's thinking, yeah, I'm going to lay into them. I'm going to let them know. And he's
Mhm.
newer, so I can probably get away with it. His boss wasn't there that day, so he probably was feeling a little bit more bold. I don't know what it was, but I was like, sir, never. Don't ever
Never.
approach me like that. I'm not the one. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what you may think here versus work and outside of work, but not that guy. So that's like one example, but
Yeah,
I do believe you have to have that conversation
you
immediately.
do. Mhm.
And my wife can attest, and you may even know too, I'm more passive aggressive. I don't like confrontation. I don't like to have to deal with it if I don't
Mhm.
have to. But
Mhm.
when I'm pushed, I definitely push back.
Mhm.
And so that was one example. That's not someone who worked for me. It was someone who I was called a business partner with.
Yeah.
But I have had examples of there was a gentleman one time. This is a doozy. So I don't know. He's from Alabama. I'm gonna start there. This isn't not from
Okay.
Alabama.
I'm
You
from
know,
Alabama, so,
no,
be careful. Be
I
careful
know.
where.
I know. That's why I was like, I'm gonna start off and when I say this Alabama, she's gonna be like, excuse me, sir.
Hello.
This young man from Alabama, and he kept calling me boy, and he didn't say it. It didn't come off right. It was just he was like, so yeah, and he worked for me. I want to be very clear too. Not that I would ever call someone who worked for me a boy, because I wouldn't. But he was, somebody who I actually hired. One of the people I gave the green light. So he's giving me the rundown on his business, and he said something. He's like, but yeah, I took care of that and something. And he ended it with boy. That didn't come off right. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But then he went on to say something else, and he said, "Yeah, boy." And then I said, "Oh, that's the second time." And
Okay.
so we weren't even in a touch base. This is like at our desks, and I said, "Hey,
Mhm.
let me talk to you real quick." So I pulled him into a room, and I said, "Listen here. I don't know what I don't know where you're from. I knew he was from Alabama."
Mhm.
But I was like, I don't know what the different terminology you may use or how it may come across. I said, but I'm gonna tell you something. As a black man, I said, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna take my manager hat off. As a black man, I don't like the term boy. I don't like to be
Yeah.
referred to as a boy. I'm a grown man,
Yeah.
actually older than you. You technically could be like, he couldn't be my son, but he was pretty young,
Mhm. Yeah.
kind of green, maybe a year or two out of college. He was really good at his job. I'd had him on the job about 3 months, but it was the first time, this was the very first and last he'd ever used that with me, where he was just like, something, boy. And I was like, when he said it the first time, I'm like, okay, I ain't gonna say anything yet. The second time, I was getting a little worked up. By the third time, this is the third time in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me go ahead and address this.
Mhm.
And so that's like another time where I'm just like, you have to address what's going on and whatever it might be immediate. Don't be time. There's times that you let something breathe, right? But there's certain times where it's like, if you need to address it, don't let it linger. Don't let it go on for a week or days or whatever it might be. Address it immediately. One, you'll probably have a better peace of mind. But two, you want to be fair to that person. You want them to know in time, like what it was that was maybe the offense or where you felt a little slighted or maybe they took your kindness for weakness.
Mm.
Follow up with them and have the conversation. It may be tough. It may be a little awkward, or it might be something that you can easily work through. But I
Yeah.
would say, have that conversation sooner rather than later so that we,
Yeah.
clear and on the same page.
Mhm. No, there's a couple of things that you said and giving those examples and giving those stories. And the first one is being clear about either expectations and when you address them, you were clear in what your boundaries were, if you I guess want to put it that way. And when you think about a boundary is not punishment. Like some people are like, ooh, I don't know about boundaries. Ooh, I can't do that. Or, ooh, but that's my boss. Or, ooh, no, you can set boundaries. They're not punishment. It's a form of protection. And that is okay. Another thing that I noticed that you did, which I think is super important when it comes to addressing the kindness for weakness, is providing the clarity in privacy. So you read the room, you read the moment, and majority of the time, usually when your kindness is taken for weakness, sometimes it can be publicly and it can be private as well. But when it's public, reading that room and making sure that people understand that that is not the route that we need to take, setting those boundaries and those expectations makes it super important when I guess you don't have to really address it again. And so in each instance that you basically address those situations, you didn't have to deal with it again. So I want to know, since this has kind of led us into the conversation of like boundaries when it comes to kindness and weakness, have you set other rigid boundaries, maybe since you've dealt with these encounters with individuals moving forward as you moved up the ladder and received promotions, maybe managing larger teams? Has it caused you to do that up front?
What's the best way to say this? I think one of the things I learned over the years is you can be friendly and you can be, what's the right word? I want to be a good business partner with my team, but you also have to remember that there is a respect level that has to your point, be maintained, right? I hate to use it like talking to your children, but it's like, I ain't your little friend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When
Yeah,
you're
and eventually
expanding,
one day, we probably can, but,
we
not right
can be.
now.
Not right now, not right now.
Yeah.
And so there's times where I have to keep that boundary even with my employees. There's
Yeah.
things I might wanna share with them, I can't share it. As much as
Mhm.
I want to, I can't share it. Why? Because I know that something could change.
Yeah.
And things in business where they change on a pivot. There's
Mhm.
times that we're like, "Hey, we're gonna redistribute the team," and, I mean, just to give you an example, I just had a team of 5 people not even 6 or 7 months ago, and now I have a team of 7. In the moment that we were first deciding who was gonna go where and what business were gonna fall under what managers and things of that nature, myself and another manager and the senior manager, we all work together and partner to figure out what's gonna be best for the business,
Mhm.
for the analysts, for
Okay.
the merchants, for us personally, our work-life balance, so all these things come into play. But ultimately, we had made some decisions. I'm glad I didn't mention it to people too early in our touch bases because
Yeah.
over the course of a week, we made another shift. And instead of, this person going to this team, they end up
Mhm.
coming to my team. And instead of
Mhm.
a business going from my team to another team, I actually took business away from a team and added it to mine. So there were shifts that were made. Had I had the conversation, and my wife can attest, I'm one of them people like, not that I can't hold water, but it's like, I'm ready to go. Like,
Yeah.
I do like to keep it moving. And when I'm excited about something, I have a tendency to like not necessarily spill the beans, but it's like I want to move forward and let's
Yeah.
go to the next thing. But this is one of those things where I'm like, I'm glad I didn't because we actually made like 2 or 3 changes in that 2-week span. And in the same 2 weeks, I'm having touch bases face to face with these same people who are gonna be impacted, but I can't share with them what those changes are yet because we're just not final. Even when I won't lie to you, we said we were final, I still didn't make the announcement to my team because it's not final until we put the bulletin out. It's not
Yeah.
really final until it goes out. And so rather than having, and I have people, I'm one of those people myself. Some people are what I call planners.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so if you get something set in your mind on what the goal or what the plan is, you're kinda like, "All right, that's the play I'm running." And when you do that quick pivot, I'm not always the best person that's gonna be happy about the quick pivot.
Yeah.
One of the things I work on in my relationship with my wife is like, "Boom, boom, boom, we're gonna go to California." "Okay." And then the day before we're going to California, "Oh, you know what? We're not. We're going to New York now." And I'm like, "Whoa, wait a minute." Like, my
Yeah.
mind was set on California, 75 degrees, whatever.
Yeah.
You were telling me we're going to New York and it's gonna be 35.
Yeah.
And my wife can like, she doesn't, don't get me wrong, she don't care for the weather like that, but she can
Mhm.
pivot like this. She's like, "Well, this is the play, this is what we're gonna do." And that's what I love about her because she can make a quick decision and go, "All right, on to the next thing." Me, I'm like, "Okay, hold on, wait a minute, I got a few questions."
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I've learned over years, many years,
Yeah.
to kind of hold back and evaluate and allow it to kind of
Yeah.
figure out, okay, when's gonna be the right time to make these announcements or make these decisions,
Yeah.
alert the right people.
Yeah.
Because you don't want someone, as I was stating, I have people on my team that are planners like me. If I would have told them ahead of time, their minds would have been set on, I'm getting this business, this is what I'm doing, boom, boom, boom. Then, a week later, I go, by the way, we changed our mind. And I
Yeah.
always tell people, you do have to be, you have to be functional, but you have to be willing to kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
The one, what do you call it? I always tell people like the one caveat or the one thing is that there will be change.
Yeah.
Be like, oh,
Change is inevitable.
it's
As they
inevitable.
always say, yeah, it's always coming. You got to be able to know that there's more than one way to skin a cat. You got to be flexible, adaptable with the times.
Absolutely.
I feel like the thing that is in common with healthcare and any other industry is that things are forever changing. Like things are becoming more modernized, AI is becoming more prevalent. Like things are changing. So you jump on board with those things. You figure out how to navigate it and, like you said, when to tell your team, how to make it work.
Mhm.
And then that was going to go into my next point of just being transparent. Sometimes that transparency and clarity to me are kind of two different things because to me, transparency comes with a little bit of vulnerability, especially when people are getting to know you as a leader or when your team is just trying to figure out, things about you. And I say that because in how it relates, I guess, to kindness and weaknesses, there have been plenty of times where situations may arise with like new employees and just say you got a new employee and you give them the complete rundown of like, the policies and the procedures that pertain to their particular roles and responsibilities. And then they have the opportunity to take what they've learned in the policy and apply it to, let's say, time and attendance, right?
Mhm.
And they do the exact opposite of what you told them in the beginning. And then it turns into, well, wait a minute, did I say that? Did I not say that? Are you trying me? Was I too nice or did you not understand? You start to second guess yourself. And what I've done over the years is just be more transparent in the beginning. Like, hey, you know, I'm a right is right and wrong is wrong person. So I'm giving you this information because X, Y, and Z. I provide examples without giving names to kind of let them know, hey, like, don't try me. But, that transparency up front has not it has also helped the relationships that I end up building with those individuals, but then it also has let them know later on down the line, like, okay, yeah, she's not necessarily that I'm not one to be played with, but like, I'm by the book. I hold everybody accountable. Accountability is another big one when it comes to taking kindness for weakness.
Huge.
But I want to make sure that you kind of understand how things flow for this department and for this hospital, that you work for. So, have you ever thought about how accountability or transparency kind of plays a role in, I don't know, the things that you've dealt with when people have tried or have sometimes taken advantage of your kindness?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I'm one of those people. I give you an example. When someone tells me, "Hey, I need to," if you're going to a doctor's appointment, don't take a personal day off to go to the doctor. And I've had people who they're like, "Hey, I'm going to take the day off because I'm going to the doctor." Now I'll tell them, "Look, if you're going to the doctor and then you planned on just laying out at the pool, got it. Go for it. Take the personal day, relax. But if you got, some maintenance, you got to run to the doctor. You got to take
Got
the
some
time.
other things.
Yeah, take the
Yeah.
time. Like, I do believe in a work hard, play hard kind of mentality.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I want a team that wants to go to war, go to bat with the team to drive our profits and KPIs and get our in stocks up and do the things that we do in inventory. But I'm like, when you go on vacation, I want you to use your vacation to like unplug,
Mhm.
you know, try to, I don't know if the right word is de-stress or whatever, but like
Yeah,
take
yeah.
the time to pull back, spend time with your family,
Mhm.
engage with your loved ones,
Mhm.
travel the world, whatever it is, like use your PTO for that. Don't use your PTO to like go to the doctor and then it's like, okay, I didn't really have anything else to do. It's like, all right, well then go to the doctor and then come in and we'll call it a day.
Yeah.
Or go to
Yeah.
the doctor and log on from home. Like we do have the flexibility sometimes to work from home. So
Yeah.
the day you got a doctor's appointment and it's near your home, let me know. I'm gonna let
Yeah.
you work from home that day. I believe
I
in
always say don't get to a point to where you have to cry wolf.
yes.
Like when you really need it, you've done so many other things before then and taken my kindness for weakness that when you really need it, now I don't know, what to do.
Yeah.
So sticking to that right is right, wrong is wrong, policy is policy usually helps with that and being that transparent up front because you run into those
You do.
issues.
You do it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I run into people who, they'll send me the note like last minute, and then they'll say, I'm gonna need to take today and tomorrow, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, hold
Like,
on,
now,
hold on.
I know I'm the nice guy, but let's
Yeah.
pump our brakes. I still got somebody I report to as well, and we got
Yeah.
meetings, we got things that we have to do.
Mhm.
It's one thing when it's like you got COVID or something crazy.
That's
It's a
totally
whole,
different.
but it's different when it's like, yeah, I got a headache, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and take the next 2 days. It's like, okay, let's see how you're feeling tomorrow.
Yeah.
Before you just
Keep me
automatically take
posted.
yeah,
I'll
keep
check
me
in.
posted, yeah. When you talk about someone, I give you an example though, I think is a
Yeah, give
good
me an
one.
example.
A young lady, and you might I won't say you'll relate to this, but we can relate to it because of my wife's job. So, we travel a lot, and so there are times where it's like, "Ooh, we're able to get," we fly standby, we can get on this great flight to go somewhere, you name
Mhm.
I had a young lady on my team, she same company, worked her husband was a pilot for the same company my wife works for, and they were kinda newer. He actually used to be an IPR manager at Home Depot. But he
Mhm.
became a pilot, and so she was like, "Hey, can I, take off we're going on this last minute trip to Paris." It was her, him, and another couple they're friends with. I'm like, "You know what? YOLO. Go for it." This is years ago. This is when
Yeah,
YOLO was
yeah.
popular, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah, yeah.
But I told her I actually said that. It's like, "You know what? You only live once. You go, girl. Go ahead. Take Friday off. You hop on that plane with your husband and your people. Enjoy it." It was truly last minute. It was like shipping on like Wednesday or Thursday.
Oh my goodness.
I let
Okay.
it go. I tell you, like a month later, she came to me again. And was like, "Hey, it's going to Hawaii." Da, 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 da. And I was just like, okay, look, I apologize. I did say YOLO. Like we did
Mhm,
that
mhm.
once.
Yeah, yeah, literally though.
Can't make this the norm. We really can't. Now, give a little more, I guess, context. In that month, I don't know how many times she came to me like, "Can I leave a little early? Can I,
Mhm.
come in a little late?"
Don't take
It's
it
like she was coming in late
personally.
on Mondays. She's leaving early on Thursdays or Fridays. It was a She might have had a vacation already planned, and the day before the vacation, she's asking me,
Mhm.
"Can you work from home?" It was like I was like, "Oh, you're abusing this.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
abusing this."
That's
And
where we are now.
when I said to myself, the next time she comes to me with a request to, go on a vacation or do something where you got to take a day off, I'm gonna have to tell her no. And then I had to institute for my team. I had to institute, guys. I need the 2 week notice.
Yeah.
I have to give me the 2 week notice. Now, there's always an exception. We all have exceptions,
Yeah.
but we're gonna make it the exception, not the rule. So it's
Mhm.
like I'm gonna give everybody a chance to say, "Hey, it's a last minute. It's 48-hour notice. It's a week
Mhm.
notice, whatever." But the rule is give a 2 week notice. 2 weeks. We gotta have the 2 week. Outside of an emergency or something going on, we need the 2 weeks. And I had to lay it out for the team to be fair because I didn't want the person to feel like I'm picking on them.
Yeah.
But I also had to let them know, like, hey, you're not going to Hawaii. And it
Yeah.
was the worst. I felt terrible because I could
I
see the
know.
situation, but I was like, I can't. Like, not only am I saying no, I know for a fact my boss would be like, what are you doing? Like,
Mhm.
this person is taking advantage. And
Taking
if they're
advantage.
taking advantage, other people will think they can take advantage.
Yeah, people are watching. Yeah.
Why do they get to go on last minute, I'm
Mhm.
sure other people are already mad that they can go on a vacation like that out of
Yeah.
nowhere. But then to be like, "Well, it's not fair. Just because they can doesn't mean they should get to leave last
They should.
minute."
Yeah.
By the
Yeah.
way, it's not fair to the team because if something comes up, we're the ones who have to cover, fill the gap. So I had to institute it and I held fast to it. And
Yeah.
fortunately, I didn't get any more pushback from that person. And then they eventually went to another company and things kind of worked out. But
Mhm.
it was one of those where I was just like, I told the person, I was like, hey, you should do this like
Mhm.
more often. You just
Yeah.
can't do it in this role.
Yeah.
Like, I can't allow it. But I mean,
Yeah, there's guidelines put in place for that. And I hate when it turns out to be like one or two, bad apples spoil the bunch, because then it does turn into something to where you have to send out a team notification,
mhm,
because you want to make sure, okay, well, hey, hold on now. We got to make sure everybody's on the same page because, people talk
they do.
and it's like, I got away with this or, hey, just go on and ask, such and such. They'll Christy gonna let you. Look, if don't nobody let you, Christy gonna let you do it. It's like,
Exactly.
no, actually, it's not what you think, So yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Something else that came up, as I feel like, this whole conversation is going along is becoming, which I don't think we're becoming this. I think both of us are individuals who are pretty humble, but humbleness not being mistaken for insecure in our roles and what we have to do because you've taken my kindness for weakness. So how do you feel like you level out remaining humble as you continue to move up, you continue to grow in what you oversee and how you oversee it? How do you maintain the humbleness?
I want to say, I shouldn't say I want to say, I want to believe that I'm a very humble person. I do want to
Yeah.
believe that.
Yeah, you are.
I also know that there are things that I have to work on.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is the being too nice, I recall a conversation. There was somebody on my team and I was trying to get them promoted. And they didn't want to go to another team. And I was like, you have to go to another team to get promoted. And they're like, well, I'm good. And I'm like I'm humbled by the fact that I don't know if am I so nice that you don't trust other managers or you don't want to go to another team or what it was. But it was one of those things where they were like, I want to interview, I want the role, but rather the role fall under you. And the thing was, they didn't want to go to the team of the person who was the manager over that role.
Mm.
And the thing I was trying to get across to them was, well, I liken it to, because I knew this person, they did like their working relationship with me. It was one of those things where they didn't want to be on the other team's, they didn't want to work the other team's manager. And so I had to explain to them, was like, listen, you're not going to always like get along with the person that you report to. I'm not saying go seek out hard managers or anything like that, but
Uh-huh.
there's times I tell them there's times you didn't really vibe with me. We had to work on it. We had to build that.
Uh-huh.
We had to build that rapport. I said it'll do you good to be on a team where maybe you're a little more uncomfortable. Maybe they
Uh-huh.
stretch you. Maybe they might be able to pull it at things that you need to work on.
Yeah.
One of my when I had my biggest, call it breakthrough, when I was trying to go for a manager role, my biggest breakthrough came from roughly 2 people who gave me the blunt, honest truth. They were like, you have to get to work before 9:00
Uh-huh.
and you have to be present in every meeting. You got to be the person who can be the go-to person, be ready to rock, be ready to roll. And my issue at the time was my wife and we had one vehicle. And I was in charge of dropping our daughter off, We were new parents. Right? I do have an older son, but her and I with a child in the home, we were new parents. Trinity was all of 3 months old or whatever it may have been.
Yeah.
And so I would do the drop off. And when I was doing the drop off, I had to go into a building. And you know how Atlanta traffic is. So like the building I had to go into, you couldn't park in the front. There was no parking. It was a government building. Like pull up, put your blinkers on, hope that you didn't get a ticket, rush in, drop the kid off, rush out, and then get to work. And by the time I got to work, you couldn't drop them off before 8:25. So think about downtown traffic. I'm getting out to, Paces Ferry Road. I was getting in the office every day between 9 and 9:05.
Yeah.
And it was actually a young man. I'll say his name, Ryan Young. He was a manager. He sat me down. He said, look, you keep saying you want to be a manager. I'm like, yeah, I do. He's like, I got to see it. He's like, I know what you're dealing with. I know you don't, you can only get into work at a certain time. Other people don't know.
Yeah.
The managers that make these decisions, they have no idea. So when you're sitting in a room and they're making these decisions on who's next, your name might come up, but somebody in there is saying, yeah, but he can't even get to work on time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a gut punch, And so, especially when it's something so, I want to call it simple, but it's like, you just got to get here 30 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
And so we had to get another vehicle. We had to figure it out. And this is an example of, we just had to figure it out. I wanted the next step. I wanted the pay raise. I wanted the responsibility. My wife wanted it for me. We made it happen. But sometimes you need someone, because I remember being in that meeting thinking, I can do everything you can do. Everything you can do, I can do it. And he's like, yep. You sure can. You probably can do it better. But guess what? I'm here on time. And sometimes it's just a little thing.
It's the little things. Yeah.
Like, I'm here on time. I'll do meetings. And the other thing, which I give him credit for, he's like, you're going to have to be here earlier if you're the manager.
Yeah.
Because the people that are getting in are going to have questions. And they're going to need advice. And they're going to need decisions.
Guidance, support.
And the
all
guidance
the things.
And support.
Yeah.
So you got to be here. And so I love that he was willing to have the tough conversation with me because we got along. He's one of those guys, let's go have a drink. Let's go catch a game. Let's go whatever. He's the boy. But then his manager had one. He's like, hey, I'm going to give it to you raw. You need to work on this, this, and this. I'm not just putting it as blunt as I can be because he's in these rooms having these conversations with people that I'm not aware of. And like, these are the things you got to work on.
Right.
And so I say all that to say it was building character, right?
Yeah.
Building the character. It's preparing you. You talked about the transparency, about being a good leader, the humble part. I need people to keep me accountable. My team does that. My team keeps me accountable. My boss keeps me accountable. The job itself does it. I'm actually very appreciative of the different teams that I've worked on throughout the years because they really do prep you to be in some of these tougher conversations. Or when you find your business in a not a rut, but you're going through a period where it's that grind season. It's that working hard and figuring things out. And the play season, it's the hard season.
It's the hard season.
You got to be prepared for it, and you do have to humble out because you're not always going to be right, and you're not always going to be right about the situation when it comes to the managing. You're not going to always be right when it comes to the business, and you have to be willing to say when you're wrong. You have to be willing to admit when the play you wanted to run isn't the right play.
Yeah.
You need to pivot. And in those moments, it's where I kind of lean on the wisdom of my wife is to like, let's pivot.
She's good at pivoting.
Make a decision. Let's move on to the next thing.
Right. No, that's good. That's good. And it ties right along with just remaining humble. And I feel like, too, it covered the basis of being on the other side of accepting the kindness and not taking it for weakness because you all had that relationship. And so he was able to confide in you, build your character, and from there you remained humble from it. But that took a lot because you could have taken advantage of the relationship. Some people do, and you did not. So I think that's great. So let's play a game. You ready to play a game?
Let's play a game.
All right, so this is usually unmasking you. So our tagline is unmasking the myths and owning the journey. So now that we've kind of unmasked what taking our kindness for weakness is, we're going to unmask who Darrell Perry is. So in this particular game, it's going to tie directly into the title, but you're going to say kindness, weakness, or boundary. I'm going to give you a scenario. You answer first, I'll answer after you, and then we'll kind of just go from there, okay?
Got it.
All right, so scenario number one. You keep covering for someone because you know that they're overwhelmed, but now they expect you to do it every single time. No.
And it's kindness, weakness or
boundary.
So this one would definitely be, you can only choose one?
Only one unless you think it kind of ties over into another one, maybe.
So here's the tricky part on this one. I'll be
Hmm.
honest. In this scenario, I believe it is a weakness that has crossed over into a boundary. Like they've crossed a boundary. I
Okay.
hope I'm answering this right. I say weakness because it could be that I just wasn't clear enough with them early and
Mm,
they allowed themselves to overstep. But absolutely a boundary has been
yeah.
crossed because kind of what I shared earlier, when they do this, the work still has to get done,
Yeah.
which
It
means
is.
either I'm having to pick it up or someone else has to pick it up. And in
Hmm.
doing so, the bandwidth of the team has been impacted. And so,
Hmm.
like, if you're working, I'm making it up, but you're working a 6 hour shift and someone else is working a 9 or 10 hour shift to cover the gap because
Yeah.
this person's not getting done what they
Didn't do
need.
what they. Yep.
Yeah, so I'd have to go with boundary because the work still has to get done, whether it's me cheating my family time or someone else on my team having to pick it up. I'm gonna have to go boundary. I'll go boundary, but I do feel like the weakness fell on me not to nip that in the bud early.
Right. Right. Or you could look at it as you started out being kind.
I did.
Like you start out being kind. They went ahead and did it because of your kindness, what you initially stated. And then it turned into requiring a boundary because now you see they're trying to take advantage of you. So that's good. There's no wrong or right answer, by the way. All right. So scenario number 2. Someone disrespects you in public,
Woo.
but instead of reacting in the moment, you address it privately later. Okay, you should get this one because you've had a couple of moments where you have addressed people privately, and that's been definitely the way to go. So what do you say?
I addressed it privately. I mean, that was boundary. They crossed the boundary. I
Hmm.
want to make sure I'm answering these right. I'm trying to understand the kindness, weakness, boundary. And that one, he took my kindness for a weakness. And
Absolutely.
he
But you showed
absolutely
emotional control in the
I
fact that you
did.
were able to,
Yes. I
kind of what we
showed the
said
emotion.
earlier, you read the room, you saw that it wasn't the time, and go from
Absolutely.
there. I'm
Yeah,
agreeing
I
with you.
didn't do the back and forth with him on purpose.
Mm-mm.
I started to. Don't get me wrong. It took a
Oh, I
lot.
get it.
I have a mouth on me, but because one thing I'm humble enough to admit, my wife has pointed out many a time, I do struggle with just admit when you're wrong. Like I
Yeah.
think in business, I probably do better in business than I do at home, and that's probably what
Okay.
frustrates me.
All right. I
Probably what
won't tell her.
frustrates
I
me.
won't tell her.
She'll see it. She'll
Yeah.
be like, "That's exactly what bothers."
Right. 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 Right.
I
Right.
know you're like yes, and here you're
Yeah.
like no.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say, in those instances, take a breather, but I would address it in private. It'll
Hmm.
serve you better, believe it or not. It'll serve you
Absolutely.
better handling it in private.
Right. All right. You forgive someone, but you no longer give them the same access to you.
Woof, you put the wall up. Man,
I think it's boundary, right?
it's absolutely boundary. And I've done this. I've
Mm-hmm.
done this and I'll
It's a
be
different type
really
of access.
it's a
Yeah.
different type of access. I
Mm-hmm.
gave someone information that they shouldn't have been privy to.
Mm-hmm.
And the information I gave them was just letting them know, like, "Hey, this is where we are. What
Mm.
you need to work on." It was one of those things, but it was one of those things where I said, "Hey, this stays between us, but this is where they feel your biggest opportunity is." And I said it stayed between us because it was one of those where like only I and another person had this conversation. My
Yeah.
direct superior,
Yeah.
and they told my direct superior the entire conversation.
Wow. Okay.
And I said,
Yeah.
"Good to know. Good."
Yeah.
And what they didn't realize, then I take it back. This one wasn't my superior; it was actually a peer of mine. So it was another manager. But they told that manager where Darrell said da 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 da, and I said,
Mm.
"And you're
Okay.
gonna." And I put
Okay.
that down. I put that wall up, and they've not had it. And I don't do it on purpose. That person eventually did get promoted, but I think they held back their promotion by like 3 to 6 months. And it wasn't me. It's
Yeah. Of
because
course.
they had this conversation with the manager, and the manager was like, for one, it was inappropriate, and for
Mm-hmm.
two, you didn't work on the thing that he said you needed to work on. You just complained to
Mm-hmm.
me. And so
Yeah.
now this other manager is like, I don't trust this person.
Yeah.
So they're like, I wouldn't trust them like in the trenches trying to figure stuff out, and we're working with our different cross-functional teams. They'll
Yeah.
be putting stuff out there that shouldn't go out early. They'll
Right.
respond too fast without digging into the information. Like they were
Mm-hmm.
just like, no, this is a no for me. And I was like, you shot yourself in the foot and probably brought
Mm-hmm.
yourself back by like a year on a because you wouldn't listen when I said, hey, this needs to stay between us, but this is what we need to work on.
Yeah.
They ruined it.
Boundary.
So boundary,
Mm.
absolute boundary. And now I have that boundary
Absolutely.
with almost all of I'm like, lesson learned, never again.
Yeah, it usually takes about one time for
Yeah,
someone to either take your kindness for weakness or cross a boundary or something like that. And you're like, okay, what can I do better? There's a lot of self reflection for me that goes into those situations. Like, what can I do better? I still want to support my team, but how can I continue to support them in a way that is still going to protect me?
Exactly.
And do it genuinely,
Yeah.
authentic. And that's another reason why, I thought that you would be the perfect guest because you're super authentic, you're down to earth, but you're a leader and you understand what goes into, remaining humble and people not taking your kindness for weakness.
Listen, I'm gonna
So,
send you that. I'm gonna send you that Venmo and Cash App when we finish. Don't you worry. I got you. I got you.
hey,
Sis.
I don't know. I may pay a thing or two. I don't know. I don't know. But no, that's the end. Those are all the questions. I think that was a great game. I hope that, people have definitely grasped a gem or two. So we always ask all of our guests, so what is something that you would want to leave with them, specifically something maybe that you gathered tonight through our conversation, or maybe that we didn't touch a point on that and you want to leave with them in reference to not taking, your kindness for weakness, remaining humble in the moment and going from there. What would you say?
I think I would say, mm, I would say be cautious on the kindness for weakness aspect. You do want to be kind. I do not subscribe to you got to be this mean person. You got
Yeah.
a hardship.
Mhm.
I believe that everyone wants to be at a company that appreciates them for their talent,
Yeah.
listens to their voice,
Mhm.
sees, wants to put into action or put into play. We're all diverse. We all come to work with different ideas, different ways to
Yeah.
look at the business.
Yeah.
So we want to feel respected. We want to feel heard. And you want it to be authentic. You don't want it to be this like, okay, I'm checking a box. Rather
Yeah.
it be like,
I call it the robot. The
yes,
robot.
the
Yeah.
robot. Yeah, it's like, hey, we're not just here to like hit those points.
Yeah.
We all have a goal and we're going to drive towards it together. But I want to be authentic when I do it. I think authenticity is huge. That accountability is huge. And then when it comes to your kindness for weakness, do take the breather to say to you, I think your game is awesome, by the way. Like take a beat back and say to yourself, are they taking advantage of a moment? Is it like just this one time? Or is this a pattern? If it's a pattern,
Yeah.
we
Trending behavior.
we got to shut it down. Don't let it reverberate. Don't let it gain legs. Like chop it off at the knees immediately and get everybody on the same accord. I think I would say do that more than anything, but be a person that harvests, that sows seeds. I know we go to church, but it's like, that seed that you sow, that person who you work with, that team you work with, that boss, maybe you're managing up to a boss, whoever it is that you're working with, that person could be your boss one day. I always tell my
Yeah. You never know.
never know. I hire
Yeah.
people, and when I hire them, I try to get a gauge from the day I hire to the 90-day window to the year window.
Yeah.
And over that time frame, I'm gauging, is this a person that I obviously get along with, wouldn't mind having a drink with, the things you hear about interviews. But then is this a person who I could report to?
Yeah.
Because I had
That's a
somebody
good
on
one
my
right
team.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been fortunate in the last, especially last 2 years. I've
Mhm.
promoted a number of people. And one of
Mhm.
the people that got promoted is now a manager. And when she got promoted, I told her, you could be my boss one day. I would not be
Mhm.
surprised if you're my boss. Just work-life balance and the way things go and her trajectory. I was like, you could easily be my boss. And
Mm.
it's funny, when I first told her, I think she's kind of like, whatever. But now I
Yeah.
think she's like, I could be his boss.
Yeah.
Because like he really believes in me and
Yeah.
I sold into her like that belief, like,
Mhm.
yes, you're not only good at your job, you're great at your job. And I always let
Great.
her know what her strengths were, and I
Yeah.
always let her know what her blind spots were and where she could work.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so, I take some pride in that to be like, yeah, you could.
Yeah.
You could. And so that's what I do with my team. I just want them to be the best version of themselves. I feel like the best version of themselves is going to be a great win for them, for their
Mhm.
families at home, and then ultimately for the company. If you can have an employee who is at a good headspace and a good place within their personal life and within their
Yeah.
business, they're going to go the extra mile for you to drive and get the
They
KPIs.
are.
Like,
Yeah.
do
You
it.
take care of your team takes care of the people, or in your case, the operations and everything else that you all have going on. So I mean, you can't say it to that no better than that. And then, just hearing you say that, that is the best example of being humble. Like you are thinking about individuals as you're hiring them to potentially be your boss. And
Absolutely.
that's kindness right there. But it's kindness that cannot be taken for weakness. So
She said
that's
it.
the kicker. That's
That's
the
kind of
kicker.
that's the kicker. You
Yeah.
hit it on the head.
Yes. And so, I mean, for me, what I've gathered is kind of what I just said. Don't be afraid to set those boundaries. Understand that boundaries are for your protection. Don't let the boundaries get in the way of you building relationships, because I think everything that we've spoken on tonight can kind of stem from building a relationship. But I think it's being clear and providing that clarity for your team, or I guess other individuals as well, on what that looks like for you in that particular relationship.
Absolutely.
And so remain vulnerable, remain authentic to, who you truly are. And I think with doing those things, your kindness will not be taken for weakness. And so that's the end goal.
And that is the end. You nailed it.
Yeah, that's
If you
it.
guys didn't
So
hear anything, y'all listen to the last 10, 15 seconds of what Christy just said. That is
yeah,
it.
that's it right there.
That
So
is it.
I mean, it was a pleasure having you, Darrell. I already knew, you were gonna bring what we needed to hear.
Well,
I mean, and so I'm pretty sure that one gem has been taken, seen, heard, whatever word you would like to fit in there. So thank you again.
I humbly
Truly
thank you.
appreciate
Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Again, I was nervous coming on. Again, that Tacoma Perry is a tough act to follow. So I'm still
She's a tough one
breathing.
to follow, but you did it. You did
I'm breathing. I'm here. I'm still alive.
That's right. Still alive. Still alive. So thank you again. Big props to Melissa, who couldn't join us tonight. And thank you for our listeners for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to Sis Let's Talk Leadership. Everyone, make sure to have an amazing night.